All right. Hi, everyone. Materim here with a quick little live video. I know this is not usually my style, but I was requested to do this video by MC1 Gamer since there's a little discussion going on right now, started by Anthony at the Sustainable Center regarding Nagash and its impact on fun in the game. Um, and there seems to be some pretty strong opinions one way or the other. And I've been commenting a little bit, and Mitch, MC1 Gamer, said I should go ahead and put up a video on this. So here it is. I will go ahead and preface this like everything else. This is my opinion. And what's more, this is my opinion that I'm making in a quick video after the longest work week of the year for my particular industry. So take that for what you will. The question basically is, does Nagash, and to a lesser extent the other end times rules, and their potential abuses and what have you, end up making the game less fun? Or as Anthony said, less Warhammer. I'll focus on the less fun side. And I'll be honest, my answer to that question is yes, it does. But not for the same reasons that everyone seems to be discussing. And I'll explain, because that's probably a very confusing statement. For me, what comes with the fun of Warhammer is the sense of immersion. I mean, I'm the narrative guy. I'm the fluff master. You guys know it. I like telling a story with my game. I like being in the moment of the game. And to that end, anything that serves more to remind me that I'm playing a game rather than experiencing that sense of immersion is less fun. And I think that's at its core what Nagash and in a lot of the ways many of these new end time rules do. When I tried the Lore of Undead, which let's be honest, when we say Nagash, that's really what we're talking about, is that ability to just raise up everybody and play that kind of game. Because there are big monsters in the game already, and they don't really change people's fun. What we're really talking about is Nagash and his ability to summon a billion dudes. And I'll have to say, playing the Lore of Undeath, yes, it took away a lot of my fun because of the way the summoning mechanic works, and that it's point based, and you get this many points that you build units that you bring into the game. It's all very mechanic-y. And the more what you do in the game is hinged on that mechanics, and that sort of overt mechanics without the fluff covering to it, the less fun I have with it, because the more it's reminding me I'm playing a game, I'm dealing with numbers, blah, 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 blah. That's why, for instance, I don't have a problem with the Raise Dead spell out of the Lore of Vampires, because it doesn't get into the points, it doesn't get into the hunting through the books to find what's best in this term. It doesn't break it down. It's you get a unit of 2d6 plus whatever skeletons or 2d6 plus whatever zombies. Boom, it happens. Very simple, gets what it needs to accomplish, and lets the game keep going, and doesn't break that immersion too much. So yes, I think that does leech away some of the fun. Same thing I feel with the new magic in Kane so far. Yeah, it might help to mitigate magic, maybe make it less reliable. I'm not sure what the ultimate aim is, but what I do know is it's adding a bunch of extra unnecessary dice rolls to a system that was already pretty half decent. And again, it's one of those situations where you're adding more rules, more dice, more this, more that, and you're stripping away the fluff that was already there anyway by making everyone a lore master and doing these increases for power's sake or for mechanics is stripping away that fluff, and to me, strips away that fun. So, now this really doesn't touch much on why everybody's kind of going back and forth as sort of the brokenness of the Nagash rules and whether that brings out fun. And yeah, there's a lot of ways that you can strip away the fun for it. But if you're focused on making the game fun for you and your opponent, this is the best advice I can possibly give you. And it's simply this: don't be a tool. It doesn't take summoning a billion undead to make you a tool, to just make you a jag-off that nobody wants to play with. High elves can do it with the banner of the world dragon. Dark elves can do it with a giant brick of witch elves with the cauldron and Hellebron and God knows what else. Wood elves can do it with their all avoidance army. For God's sake, I can do it with my ogres with like 10 group of Noblar trappers. I mean, there's ways that people can be tools. And ultimately, if you are really focused on the fun, and this is where each of us as a player has to really look at themselves and decide what they're playing this game for. If you're playing this game for the adrenaline rush of being the best general, crushing your opponents, blah, 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 then yeah, I mean, you're going to go do that regardless of what army you play with. And to my suggestion to those folks is don't play with the overpowered stuff. If you really want the biggest, shiniest badge for being a badass general, the shittiest army you can and crush face with it. And then you're going to get that ego bump, and that's what you need. But for the rest of us who are honestly trying to provide a pleasant experience for ourselves and our opponents, just don't be a tool. It's not hard. Don't treat the game like it's instructions on how to make a nuclear reactor that you need to follow precisely every step of the way. Because that's not how the rules were written. The rules were not written by lawyers. They were written by guys at GW who have different writing styles, who have a lack of time and effort to play test these things and check out every single identifier of problems. You're going to run into issues where you have to use your discretion. You're going to run into issues in the game that are legally, yes, they're right by the rules, but they are so circumspect and so built for advantage that really, I mean, honestly, that's not what they meant. I mean, whether we're talking about conga lining monstrous infantry with the champion up front so you can get more hits than your opponent, or I mean, there's so many examples of people being tools, and you don't have to do it. I mean, hiding Nagash, who is this big, I can't even get my fingers on the screen how big Freaker is, behind monstrous infantry that's this big and saying, oh, your cannon can't hit him or whatever. Yeah, come on. Yeah, maybe that's how the rules work, but you're kind of being a douche about it. And I know MC1 Gamer will call me out with my use of that word again. He doesn't like it when I call things douches, but I explained to him my reasoning. I think it is very appropriate. And I won't back off that. That's it. I mean, if you're looking for fun, it doesn't have to be this big hoopla. You can make things fun. And does that mean maybe you're not necessarily playing with a model in the most super intelligent, super competitive way? Maybe. But at the end of the day, what's more important to you? That you won and you played a flawless game that basically grabbed your opponent's head and dunked it underwater until he stopped kicking? Or that you went out and had fun with it and went with the fluff? And I mean, particularly like with the Nagash fluff. I mean, Nagash is like this uber arrogant badass who runs out and fights his own battles for the most part when he's involved in them. Him cowering behind a bunch of crypt ghouls or crypt horrors, that's all mechanics. That's not playing to the fluff. And yeah, you may have more. Yeah, you may lose if you run Nagash out and just challenge anything that throws at you. But try it. I'm sure you and your opponent will have more fun than castling up and playing the smart way. But ultimately, it ends up being about what you want out of the game. But you can't in one breath go, well, I want to have this fun game, and then ask to be able to use all of the broken, abusive bits of these new rules to maximum effect, because that's not the way it works. You got to have one or the other. Either you're in it to crush face and you don't care about whether your opponent has fun, or you're playing a cooperative game between two buddies and trying to have a good time and grow the hobby. And really the only way to do that is to just not be a douche. It's not hard. Most of us else, we know how to not be jerks. So I know that might have gotten a little off topic, but so between the immersion idea, I think that's the real reason why I think Nagash strips away some of the fun. I don't really think it's because he's ultra broken or whatever, because like I said, you can strip away, you can ruin somebody's hobby with just about any unit in the game. Doesn't really matter if it's powerful, doesn't really matter. Yeah, it just doesn't really matter what it is. If you play it jerky and you play the rules, if you bend what you can, get away with what you can, yeah, you can break people's hobby with anything. But just don't. So those are my thoughts on it. If you guys disagree, which many of you probably will, because I've come to the conclusion at this point that I look at this hobby from a very strange point of view compared to most of you out there. Leave them in the comment section below. I'll try and get to them. And frankly, I'm not even going to bother like everyone else does and ask you guys to be polite, because asking for politeness on the internet is really kind of pointless. But just be aware now, Mr. Reef has taught me how to block people on my channel. So if you get too obnoxious, I'll just give you the boot. But go ahead and let me know what you guys think. And thank you guys. I actually have 4 viewers. That was not expected. So thank you guys for coming in and watching this impromptu just ramble. And I will catch you guys later. Thanks.